think people would have tried
Hi,
to
everyone.
I'm going to record this.
Hi,
Is that
Rashida.
okay?
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry for
I'll be
the
right. I'll
for the
be right back.
technical
I just need to be
issues.
sure everyone got the new link. I'll be right back. Rashida, did you share the new link with your students?
Yes, I am. I've done that. I have.
Okay. Okay.
They're waiting for the students to join, is it? Using the new link, is it?
I think so.
Ah,
I don't know what happened to the other link. It should have worked.
yeah. I figured this is Georgetown's link, no? I thought it
Yes.
is from Ngozi's university. Okay.
No. Georgetown, one of the benefits, I always have Zoom. Yeah, I'm going to teach my class, my literacy and law class next, starting in August for the
Yeah.
29th year.
Okay.
That will be
Okay.
fun. But
Yeah.
but where is
I
everybody?
have to get you to India as well. It has to figure out when and how, but
Yes.
I have to just.
Where is everybody?
You can
Jennifer.
do virtual.
Maybe it's going to be just round table between all of us.
Here we go.
Okay. We still have, do we wait or do we just proceed? Or do you think?
Yes. Yes.
This is the lowest number we've had so far. I don't know if it's still because of the
That's
link
okay, Joy.
confusion.
I think it's because of the link.
Yeah.
Maybe we can wait for a few more minutes for other persons to join.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have all the faculty, but no, not too many students.
Not too many students this time. Is it that they are too much indulging in the long vacation?
I have no
Or
idea
is it
why.
still a case of confused links?
I have no idea why the link didn't work. It worked.
Oh, yeah. I have Mustafa here. Mustafa is the
Here we go.
president of the Law Student Society here in Nigeria.
Oh, good.
Here in Nile University, actually, not the General Law Students in Nigeria. Mustafa, can you hear me? Are your colleagues still having problems with connecting?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. They are joining. We've sent the new link, so they are joining.
Oh, thank you. That's great. I see my professor, Professor Salome Kibu is with us. She's the postgraduate coordinator of Nile University of Nigeria. Prof, nice to have you with us.
Thank you, Ngozi. Well done. You and your group. It's nice to
Thank
be
you,
here.
ma'am.
Thank you.
You're welcome, ma'am. So do we give like 5 more minutes or do we put a time to it?
Yeah, I don't mind waiting.
Okay, I don't mind waiting also.
Just a minute. I think we should start now. Maybe people can just join at their pace, but I think we should start, no?
Yeah. Ngozi? Let's wait for our host. One more minute.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we should just start now. Just like you said, let's just start. And hopefully they'll join us. I don't know if we are in the breakout session. Richard, can they still join us? Maybe while they're coming in, they will just go into the room. Is that possible?
I think we should do the event without breakout sessions because we don't have that many people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Just go straight up and do some very quick introductions, and each of us take a few minutes to do a presentation together.
Okay.
We can go. Can we
That's
go for an
fantastic.
hour
Yes.
from now?
Yes. I think that makes sense. I think we can do that since we don't have many people.
Yeah.
We can just
Yeah.
just
We
one
can
general
just,
session.
yeah.
Okay.
Breakout session doesn't make much of a sense right
Yeah.
now.
So-
I agree. I agree. So we can just
Ngozi,
start
go
with
ahead and
introduction.
introduce
Yes.
everyone.
Yes, well, the plan is everyone, each speaker introduce themselves. So I'm just going to be the last to do the introduction because I'm still replying to some messages about people that wants to join. So I think Richard, we start with the introduction, then I'll be the last person to introduce myself. Is that okay?
Sure.
Good.
I'll give a quick introduction. I'm Richard Rowe. I've taught street law at Georgetown for many years. I now am retired and I teach one other course called Literacy and Law. And I'm delighted to be involved here. And the question is, what is justice education? How does it work? And I'm looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say.
Yeah.
Rejitha?
Yes. So I'm Rejitha Nair. I teach at Shiv Nadar School of Law, which is in the southern state of Tamil Nadu in India. I have been teaching for over a decade now, around 14 years, and almost 12 of it was spent running a legal aid clinic or in some or the other way being associated with a legal aid clinic. I have also very briefly worked with civil society organizations, setting up legal aid centers in communities. And right now I'm tasked with establishing a legal aid center in my university. So we will have, mine is a very young law school, and we would just have our legal aid clinic starting from next semester. And I'm tasked to actually head it. So that's where I am, and it's nice to be part of this group.
Thank you. Who should go next? Don't be shy.
Can we have Paola? Can Paola go next?
Of course. Hi, my name is Paola, and I'm from Colombia. I'm also been teaching around 10 to 11 years since 2014. I work at the Autonomous University of Bucaramanga, and I've been in the legal clinic 8 since 2022, and we have a second legal clinic that it's focused on public interest and human rights. And I've been there since 2025. And I'm also hoping to learn from you from your experiences and share with others how our work has, well, improved and evolved.
Thank you. Rashida.
I have
Hi,
introduced me
everyone.
with, yeah.
I'm Rashidat Ajise from Ekiti State University in Nigeria. I am delighted to be here. I also started as a student clinician over 10 years or 15 years ago while I was in the university. And I was in private practice for a very long time. But then I joined the academia not quite long. And the moment I joined, I was appointed the clinic coordinator due to my experience of the Faculty of Law, Ekiti State University, and I am still currently the clinic coordinator. So I'm happy to be here with you all to share from your experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, so, well, I'm Ngozi. Most people knows my name. I'm currently with Nile University of Nigeria. I started as a youth corper. I started with developing the clinic, starting the clinical program. I actually also started as a law clinician. I was a student in Ajise University. That is the Ondo State University. I started as a law clinician. I was in a group. That's the pretrial group. Then I led the group at some point, and that has led me to where I am now. So that is where I started to this justice education. Yes, and currently, like I said earlier, I'm lecturing in our university. I supervise the law clinic activities also. I'm taking currently just 2 courses, clinical legal education course for the 4th-year students, and then the human rights course for the postgraduate students. Thank you all for being here. So I think in the same order in which we did the introduction, we can start the conversation on why justice education. So the rationale for this thing is for everyone to begin to understand the need to have clinical legal education, and not just to have it, to also begin to talk about regulating it for those institutions or for those jurisdictions, particularly here in Nigeria, that are yet to have a regulation to make the program a well-structured program. So I feel that it's very important to have a conversation around why in the first place should we have justice education. So I think we'll start with Professor Richard, just the way we have done introduction, in that same order, have our conversations, if that is okay. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so initially we wanted to have 30 minutes for the breakout session. So now I think we have to share that time between each of the speakers. I don't know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes for each, I don't know.
Yes.
30 minutes divided by 5. That's like 6 minutes for each. Okay. So then we have 6 minutes for each speaker. What do you think? Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So I'll start very quickly. Why justice education? There are many dimensions to it. One of them is for the law students and the importance to focus on, we're talking about justice, not just the law. And there are many resources for that. The other side of it is that justice education can be for other people outside of law education. And that's what my whole career has been built on, is using law students to teach other people, the general public, outside the law. I want to focus in the little time I have for another important dimension is for teaching justice education for very young children and to develop literacy skills and languaging skills for young children as they progress through their lives. I had a lot of things to show you, and I'm not sure which I should do. I have two ideas I can show you now. I can show you a short video of a program we did in Brazil of reading with young people, or I can show you a children's book that my law students, a law student wrote in a course I teach called Literacy and Law. Does anybody have a preference? Hearing none, a tough decision. Let me see what I will do. Okay.
Are you trying to share
I'm going to try to share my screen. I'm going to try to share my
Okay.
screen right now and see what
Is it
we
working?
can get. Let me see. One
There's a
second.
place you see start share. Then you can click on that.
Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, we can see.
Okay. Let me just read it. The sweetest sound. This was a story by Ramona Tumber, who was a law student in my class. She went on to get a PhD in education and practices education law. This story is about a little princess and the trials she went through. There she is. This is not just an ordinary princess. This princess had the most beautiful voice in the world. Everyone knew it. The princess's parents, however, had a rule at the palace. Little princesses should be seen and not heard. Every time the princess tried to talk, the king and queen told her to hush. Every time someone asked a question that the princess knew the answers to, she was silenced. And there's the king telling her, don't talk now, don't interrupt. Slowly but surely, the princess began to get quieter and quieter. This pleased the parents, who said their little princess was very well behaved. This pleased the people, who told their own daughters to be quiet like the little princess. One day, a blind wanderer came to town. This was not just any wanderer. The wanderer was enchanted by an evil, blinding spell that could only be cured by hearing the sweetest sound in the land. The wanderer had traveled far and wide, trying to find the magic cure to the enchantment. The wanderer had searched high and low, over fences and under houses. The the wanderer went up the streets and down the streets looking to find the elusive melody that would set the wanderer free. On this day, the blind wanderer approached the castle walls and asked the king to hold a competition to find the sweetest sound in the land. The king, not one to turn down a challenge, drew upon all his musicians to play for the wanderer, but they were not good enough. The queen called upon her calling birds in the aviary, but none had the right melody to break the spell. Everyone was in despair. Then someone remembered the little princess and her sweet voice. The princess was no longer little. Long forgotten, she was mute in a corner, listening to everything, but responding to nothing. She was brought forward. Everyone looked at her with expectation. The princess was bewildered at finally being paid attention to. She didn't know what to do. Speak, the king and queen demanded. Speak, the people declared. What do you think is going to happen? The princess squeezed her eyes tightly shut, then opened her mouth. Out poured the most horrendous sound that the court had ever heard. The princess howled and screamed and groaned, and everyone covered their ears in pain. Everyone but the wanderer. The princess's voice went on and on and on. The court was in agony, withering on the ground. Still the princess screamed. After all the years of being hushed, the princess had scored up countless protests and denials. For once, she would be heard. The wanderer smiled and approached the princess. The princess, suddenly recalling her earlier teachings, closed her mouth and glared at the wanderer. The wanderer, looking at the princess, proclaimed, "This is the sweetest sound in all the land." The king and queen were silent. The people were silent. They looked bewilderingly at the wanderer. Didn't the wanderer hear the hideous voice? Didn't the wanderer think the princess should be seen and not heard? The sweetest sound, continued the wanderer, is the sound of someone who has found her voice, who is finally able to express herself and is no longer willing to be hushed. The princess looked up to the wanderer and saw the compassion and love in the wanderer's eyes. She smiled and said painfully, "My voice?" "Yes, your voice," replied the wanderer, "your sweet voice that you have found again after all these years. You have the power, my dear, to cure enhancements and make miracles come true. Don't ever let anyone hush you again." And the princess didn't. So that's my presentation. If anybody wants to comment about what does this have to do with why justice education? Why is it important that we, as children, understand the nature of justice and learn to have power in their world? Any thoughts or comments?
Well, hi. In Colombia, we have a saying that says something like this: "Calladita se ve más bonita." Being pretty, being silent, you look more beautiful. So that is teach to girls from a very young age. So it's common then where gender violence occurs, or gender or sexual harassment occurs to women, women stay silent because they're going to be judged from society and in general is a really tough path to get to justice. So finding a voice from a young age is really important to educate young people and educate lawyers too. And I think take into their practice. Some of the things we do at our clinic, it has to do with legal literacy to young children in schools, to teach what their rights are, to speak up when someone is doing something different that affects those rights. So silence is a powerful barrier to justice, and teaching silence in families, because kids seems well behaved if they don't interrupt adults. It's a very dangerous practice that has to be fight, and we have as lawyers and as professors in legal clinics in law programs, we have the tools to make a change in this subject.
Thank you. Maybe we should proceed to the next presenter. Ngozi, who should that be?
Okay, yes, just in the order of the introduction, like I said, I think Reg was the next person that introduced after me.
Yes.
So, Reg, yes, please,
Yes.
go ahead, Reg.
I mean, I'm still sitting with Richard's presentation because it was so profound, that story, and to see that it came from a student's project, it's just unbelievable. I mean, and that itself tells us, why justice education is so important, because it makes you feel things that you would not ordinarily feel. And for me, legal education versus justice education, actually the distinction is that the legal education is more focused on your cognitive skills, your brain, how you analyze, how you understand a case law, how you understand a ratio, how do you apply it. But justice education is more holistic, where we are also looking at the heart dimension of it, asking not just what is the law, but what law ought to be, not just saying who this law is for, but also saying who is excluded in the process. And to understand those differences, I think, especially in my context, in my country, which is so diverse, to have a dialogue with anybody who is from a diverse background, you have to have this skill, you have to have that empathy. You can't just go into this with the mindset of a traditional lawyer, whereas with just about, how do I make the best legal argument? But the question is that how do you make a law or make an argument which serves the ends of justice? So, and clinics are in a way to introduce students to those realities, to introduce them to things that are different from their realities, people who are different from them, and to uncomfortable situation. One of the great articles that I read very recently talked about how social justice classrooms are basically about creating safe spaces, whereas we should move to creating brave spaces. I mean, spaces in which students learn to be uncomfortable and then sit with those uncomfortable feelings, and be okay with not knowing everything every time, but going with an idea of at least gaining some understanding of the experience of the other party, right? So clinics for me, for that reason, are very important. Now in India, you have around 2,000 plus law schools, and it's a mandate. It's not just a mandate by the Bar Council, which it is, that every law school should have a legal aid clinic, but it's also constitutional mandate the Indian Constitution there's only one profession which is mentioned in Indian Constitution, which is the legal profession, wherein there's an Article 39 which actually bestows a duty that everybody should have free legal aid and legal profession should work towards access to justice. So it is the constitutional duty of every lawyer to work towards securing justice. So, but then how do they understand the meaning of justice unless they are exposed to diversity, exposed to ground realities? And clinics basically have to do that. Because only in classrooms, through whatever method, you have Socratic method, you would have a diverse class, you would try to students to engage within that, but still they will be disconnected from the community that they are supposed to serve. It's interesting that we say law clinic, and I remember one of my students asking me, why do you call it clinic and not center? And it was a really nice question, because why is it a clinic? Because you understand clinic as in medical terms, where the doctor meets the patient is a clinic. And in medical colleges, the clinic works very well. Like if you have a medical college in a community, the community gets subsidized medical access in some ways in India. But if you have a law school and a legal aid clinic, sadly, there is no impact that you have on the community. And I have been in my career thinking about how do you activate the legal aid clinic and at least have an impact on the community that is in and around you. And we have been, and there are two central questions that I deal with. One is, why do you have a clinic? One of the idea is that you have a clinic because your students need a certain exposure. But at the same time, there is an ethical concern of it's not about your student. It's about the community. You can't use the community as the means to an end. If you are working with a community, they are not a means to an end. So how do you understand this ethically? How do you have your student understand this value? And so what we are, because mine is a new law school, as I said, so I have a blank canvas to start to build a legal aid clinic from scratch. I can give it whatever shape. And one of the things that I and my colleagues are thinking about doing is to spend some time, just an year with the students, to basically build that perspective as to why we are doing what we are doing, and spend some time in working on the heart dimension. That is, exposing them to the different realities. We have all sort of conflicts in this country. We have all sorts of problems. At least the practitioners could come talk to them about what are the ethical concerns attached to this, so that they are exposed to all of that. And I just wanted to, if I could share my screen, I have just a very quick a slide on, some of the methods that I have used previously, and how do we go about thinking about justice education. So far, we have thought about it as something that law school does, which benefits the students as well as the community. And in that way, let me just show you quickly what we do. Is it visible?
Yes. Yes, we can see.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did with my students is to just to understand, gauge as to what do they think a lawyer does. So we did an anatomy of a lawyer activity. And this is what my first semester students thought that lawyers are. Like, these are the attributes. So if you see, these are two contrasting. One was like, it is empathetic and understanding his clients, veins of steel, like grit. And the other side, you will see somebody saying crocodile's grip on a case, hunger of a champion, tough skinned like a hippo, heartless. So you understand that students who are getting into the profession sometimes see themselves like this profession actually demands of you to be a thick-skinned, heartless, eye on the money kind of a person. And it is interesting to get that, that information beforehand and help them reflect on, like, why do they think what they think? And the space to do all of this is basically available in a clinic where you actually, confront your own biases. You try to understand not just your contract law, your constitutional law, but why you are doing what you are doing. What do you think of this profession? Right. And so the very first thing that we do is in some way to bring out their own biases about this profession. Where is the, just a minute. And we do reflective journals a lot, community-based assignments, co-teaching students. One of the projects that we recently won some grant to establish a street law clinic, and we have two villages where we will be working, and we will be giving them we will be doing workshops on legal literacy, and students will be trained to be trainers and will work together with the faculty. So the co-teaching is also something that we do. And the key tensions that I see in justice education that have come across in my work is, one thing is, it is very different from any of your other sociological research, because you are not just there to observe as to if somebody's land is being taken away. If something happens, you are not supposed to just go and just see, observe, and make a case report. It's your duty to also, give them some aid, to intervene. And that tension as to what do you just observe, or do you intervene? How do you intervene? Students feel a lot of psychological pressure and helplessness if they are exposed to this and not able to do anything. If they hear a narrative wherein people are being displaced, and they just feel helpless coming back and just writing it in their reflective journal. So this is one of the things. How do you ready them? And also, how do you intervene in these zones? Then how do we balance learning objective with community needs? Community might need something different from what you want. You might want your students to be trained to give a legal education, primary legal literacy to the people, but people might be more concerned about, how do I get myself registered on some portal? How do you get a welfare benefit? So their needs might be different from what you are preparing or you are prepared to deliver. So how do you, and to what point do you help them, and when do you step back? Those kind of question. And how do you ensure ethical engagement so that it doesn't become a sort of, you are not, you're not just looking at their misery as a story to tell somebody someday. You are actually, it's not, their struggle is basically not your learning experience. It's something that you have to, how do you ensure ethical engagement, that it does not become, somebody's life does not just become a learning experience for somebody else and is much more. How do you do that is also a question that I have always encountered with. And you can see that this one is my favorite, one of the reflection journals that one of my students had written. It's long back. I think it's from 2018. We had done a interaction with a rural community, and there was some, they had done a training program on land rights, women and land rights. And students were supposed to write a reflection journal.
Your time is up.
Yeah, I'm just, so what we see here is how students see things differently, and how do we engage with them differently. Because one of the students' observation is that the same camp, and two students are looking at it very differently. One student is saying that I think it was successful, I educated them and they are now aware of their right. Whereas other students is just questioning the whole methodology, is like, I'm just appalled by, we just went there and they were just, there was so much suffering, and I just feel we are not up to, what the community needs. So the same experience students look at differently. And these are all what is fodder for us, that for us to understand that there is much beyond legal education, the feeling aspect of it, the understanding aspect of it. How do you engage with people, their lived experiences is something that they learn from clinics, and that's why justice education is important. It's something that I wanted to say, and thank you so much, Ngozi. I hope I didn't take more time than allotted.
Thank you so much, Rach. That was profound. Can we have Paola now?
How do I end this?
I really share some of the topics that Rejitha well spoke. And I was, well, in our country also we have a mandatory legal aid clinic since the 1970s. But we didn't have one focused on public interest and human rights. So when I began studying law, I didn't have that opportunity to choose that kind of practice. So one of the first courses that we have is Introduction to Law. And the main objective of that course is what in every country I think it is, that is defining what law was and what it wasn't. And while our professor well made an effort to teach us that law is not necessarily moral or ethical, and that is not or is much less related to justice that every people might think. It's different to hear that than to observe that. But also in Colombia, we have a particular context, so it's not hard for students to um, accept that truth that is not necessarily related to justice. Um, and I'm gonna share another saying of Colombia with you, and is la ley es para los de rana, meaning that the harsh edge of the law is strictly enforced for people that can't have the means or resources to fight back that side of the law. So while I had a legal education and bringing or attending people or users of our legal ed clinic, we work with cases. We are aware of the social function of the law, but we don't have this education before on how to transform those barriers, those structural barriers that put vulnerable people in more vulnerability. So we didn't have the goal to challenge that structural imbalances that made them vulnerable. That's why we change or we add something else to our legal practice in the law program in 2014. We took the opportunity to establish a legal clinic that is focused on public interest and human rights. That meant we changed our paradigm. Our students don't work on isolated cases when they are in this clinic because they have that choice. But they work in systemic projects, meaning they don't learn how to deal with clients, or it's not just a practice for litigation, but they learn to represent causes. And one of the challenges we took was in the Venezuelan migration crisis. We had the opportunity to serve as legal advisors for regularizing migrants' legal status. Also, students learn that we work better when we join with others because we have budget limitations, we have a broadness limitations. So when we work with others, we can reach to more people. And that's how we learn to team up with other networks of legal clinics and also with committees, with local entities. We have a place in the local interinstitutional committee for the prevention of human trafficking. And that's also a skill that our students, those that choose this legal clinic, learn. Also, we have this a strategy to work with communities that is have a prevention teaching or a democratization of legal knowledge. And we run legal literacy projects in schools, and that allows people not only know how to exercise and their human rights, but also we work specifically on the prevention of gender-based violence and human trafficking prevention. And we also do this not only in schools, but we organize community outreach walks. We call it brigadas, and that is the work directly with the citizens. I want to take the word of Rejitha in the we have sometimes the feeling that a community needs something, and if we are open to discuss the real needs with the communities, we can do a better job. So a previous talk with the communities enhance and enriches our projects or our work. Also, this change of working on cases versus working with causes, we have an important tool in our law that is constitutional actions to remove those barriers that makes vulnerability more strong in some communities. So we had the opportunity to work and the students being able to file a challenge of laws that are discriminatory and see the result of their work. For example, we win a challenge that allowed people with disabilities to serve as expert witnesses in legal procedures. That was a law that banned them for doing that. That was in 2025, and it was really, well, the students have this sensation they change something for good. So it's a different sense of how reach justice. And currently, we're
Paola, you may
doing
want to start
amicus curiae.
concluding. Your time's up. You may want to start concluding.
Okay.
Your time.
No, well, I think it's important to know that sometimes we are challenged by the motivation of our students. So it's important to have a steady team of professors that take them to maintain that motivation and work with the students with more motivation rather than those that are um, well, motivated by a grade or a credit approval. And
Yeah.
I will leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paola. That was fantastic. Can we have Rashida now?
Yes, thank you.
Oh,
Thank you. So, I think I kind of like the theme of this webinar, why justice education. And I'm going to discuss from two areas. I'll focus on two areas. The first one is going to be with regards to social justice and access to justice. And then the second one will center on clinical legal education. And then before then, people will ask the question, what is justice education? Why justice education? What do you mean by justice education? So I would say that it entails teaching people about their legal rights, how the legal system works, and how to promote fairness and equity in schools and in the society. Now, with regard to the two areas from which I'm going to discuss this topic, the social justice and access to justice aspect, I'm going to pick up my discussion from Richard's presentation about the child, a young child whose voice was lost. And I would say that that story resonates with me because it brings back a lot of experiences that I've had as a clinician on the field, the practical experiences that I've had, the children that I've met with, the children that we've been able to, by virtue of clinical legal education assist in one way or the other. And I would say that the importance of legal education or justice education cannot be overemphasized with regards to social justice and access to justice. A lot of time, in school, what students learn mostly is just you learn the legal framework. Of course, we agree that there's virtually every aspect of society, with regards to the social, economic, and everything. They are within a particular legal framework, and as such, in most cases, law students are only taught the theoretical aspect of this law. But the question now is, how do you apply these theories to practical life? How do you ensure that you're able to apply your legal research to solve practical legal problems? And that is one of the importance of clinical legal education. And then the access to justice part is not just about you going out there, educating people. It also entails you getting justice for those who deserves it, for those who does not even know how to access it in the first place, getting justice for the underprivileged, for those who do not have the means to either hire a lawyer or they don't even know anyone. They don't know how to go about it. So, and I think one of the importance is also the aspect of freedom of information. Freedom of information. The fact that we don't just go there to teach freedom of information, we also show them how they can access that, how to be free, how they can express themselves, how they can enjoy their fundamental human rights with regards to freedom, for them to be able to speak. And that is why I would say that from Richard's story, I recall so many stories, so many incidents that I had, and I'll probably just cite a few of them. I think there was one that we had on the feed during one of our outreaches to a school, was a secondary school. And then, some of the teachers, they approached us after the advocacy, after teaching the students, and they told us that they wanted to introduce us to a guy, a very young guy. I think it was, I can't recall it because it's been a long time. And then they said that they want us to speak with him, that he's one of their best students in class, but recently he's been having issues with his education owing to some issues that they had at home. So we called the guy, we interviewed him, and then he told us how the father and the mother, they had issues, domestic issues, and then led to break up. And because of that, the mother is no longer living with the father. She narrated the story how the mother was the one that facilitated building of the house they stay in, and how the father withheld the documents of the house to ensure that the mother does not have access to it. And I think out of that, looking at all those things, he felt that his mother was cheated. So he stole the documents from the father's house and fled the house. And because of that, the father refused to pay his school fees and amongst other and take care of the welfare. So the teacher told us that this guy is one of their son students in class, and they don't know how he's going to proceed in life with his education if this is affecting him. So we had to write a letter to the father. We invited the father to the law clinic. We wrote a letter to him. We invited him. We educate him on his role, his parental responsibility, and how, if he's not going to do, we encourage him to take up those responsibilities, and how we can also facilitate him to do some things in line with the law. And because of that, he was able to, he reasoned with us. He started paying the child school fees. And I recall that a year or even 2 years, even 3 years after that, this boy is always calling me. He will call me anywhere he sees me. Before I left, he would come around. Anytime he sees me in town, in the community, he's just going to approach me, and then it was full of joy. And that is just one of the many children that we have there. I thought there was another story of a very young girl who visited a school, another school this time around, and then we saw a child who was malnourished, a very young girl. In fact, even for the intervention of myself and my team, she would have fainted at that point. But then we had to, the moment we saw her, and one of the teachers told us that it seems this young girl has not eaten. She has not eaten today. She has not had a meal. So we called the child and we asked questions. So one of the teachers told us that they've been observing her for a while, and then they tried to reach out to her parents. They realized she was staying with her grandmother. And then the parents were in faraway state, another state, different from where she was. And they didn't bother to come check up on her. She was just a young girl, probably 4 or 5 years. And then all she does was, once she leaves school, she'll go out, she'll go back home, and then the grandmother will put something on her head, good, to go and walk around. And I think the previous day, to the day that we went there, she went walking as usual, and then she lost the money that she had made. And on getting home, the grandmother was so furious and she refused to feed her for that night. And then the following morning, she came to school hungry. So we quickly had to like get some things for her to eat with the supervision of the teachers, of course. And then we proceeded to now start writing. We wrote a letter, we made inquiries about the parents, wrote a letter to them that even if you think that your child is doing well, you want to probably just help the aged mother because she's aged, why don't you probably put a machinery in place or kind of like make arrangement for you to come up and check up on this child and see how this child, how do you leave a 4-year-old to cater to an aged person? So in most cases, sometimes people just need you to encourage them. They need you to advocate. They need you to tell them some things, or if need be, threaten them with the positions of the law. And these are some of the things that we do with regards to social justice.
You want to start concluding? Time is up.
Okay. And then, okay, let me quickly just go to the aspect of the clinical legal education, the things that we do. I would say that I would focus more on the importance of clinical legal education, how it has helped us so far, what we've been able to achieve, and what we seek to continue to achieve. And the first one is ethics and professional responsibility. The fact that introducing clinical legal education, especially at the school stage, at the university level, it introduces students not just to what is written on paper, but they are able to live it out. They're able to practicalize by their meeting with clients and victims, meeting with witnesses, undergoing trainings on client interview and counseling, learning about the various alternative dispute resolutions that we have, learning to partner with other people that are practicing. Those are they are able to learn ethics. What should a lawyer do? What are the conduct? What are the acts to be expected of a lawyer? How should you conduct yourself? How should you do when it comes to client interview? What are the rules that regulate client interview and counseling? That's just one of the second aspect is, I would say, legal research. We've encouraged legal research, and not just about researching, but also about understanding the fact that legal research are meant to solve practical problems. So it is not just enough that you're doing a research or you're coming up with law, with principles of law or anything. How do you apply these rules of law to solve societal problems? That is one of the things that we teach at the law clinic. And the third one is law office management. A lot of people go out, once you become a lawyer, you're happy, you're overjoyed, but the question is, can you actually set up a law firm? Can you manage a law firm on your own? Even if you go too privileged, most times some people lose. You find it funny that there are so many law firms, big law firms that we have today that they don't mentor. You just go there, you work, and you get paid. So even while you are there, you really do not understand how law office management works. But at the law clinic, for the fact that we allow the student to take charge, they are the managers of the clinic. They learn how to manage the affairs of the clinic because law clinic is more like an NGO, it's like managing a law firm on its own. So they learn all those things while in school. The other one is legal writing. They learn how to draft, so many things. And then we also have the client interview and counseling.
Right now.
Okay, let me just round up. And then they learn about alternative dispute resolution, and then we imbibe in them the culture of public interest lawyering. So all these things are the things that we do at the law clinic. And I will just quickly say that by way of rounding up that we've sort of, for my own, because I had to resuscitate the law clinic in our faculty of law at Ekiti State University when I joined.
Yeah.
And because of that, it was more like I started from the scratch. I had to put units in place. We have the child rights unit, we have the environmental units, we have the freedom of information units, I have the research units, just so that we'll be able to do something workable for the students to be able to apply the theories and the rules of law that they learn within the walls of the classroom outside it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rashidat. That was awesome. By the way, myself and Rashidat, we were both at Ondo State University. That is Adekunle Ajasin University. She was my immediate junior in school. Rashidat is such a joy. Anytime I speak to Rashidat, anytime we are having any communication, I'm always so delighted. It's always a pleasure because, I mean, she's in the field. She was also a law clinician, and that is what she's doing. She went to Ekiti State University. There was practically nothing going on in the clinic. And Rashidat reached out and said, look, I want this clinic here to work. I want to be a working clinic. I want the students here to enjoy what I enjoyed when I was in university. And see, she's doing wonderfully well. I'm so proud of her. Well done, Rashidat.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm going to go straight into my presentation. Again, the theme is why justice education. That is the theme for this session, why justice education. I'm trying to see that I have just 4 photos I'm going to share. I'm going to try as much as possible to stick to time, 6 minutes, hopefully. So I'm going to share just 4 photos. I'm going to start with the Absol Law Clinic. Can everyone see what I'm sharing? Okay, thank you. So what you can see right now is a flyer of Abia State University Law Clinic. And it was a project funded by Nile, Nigeria. Nile, Nigeria is the network of universities' legal aid institutions. Nile, Nigeria actually began the clinical legal education movement in Nigeria. They started with just about 5 law clinics, and Abia State University Law Clinic happened to be one of the 5 pilot law clinics that started the clinical program in Nigeria. So again, Nulai funded the FY project, and the project was to basically legal literacy, to educate community members on the provisions of freedom of information, how they can use that to make the government and public officials accountable. So I'm going to share another photo before I ask a question that I would just want 1 minute or less, or just 1 minute or less as to use for responses. Okay. Yes, I get it. Please, can everyone see what I'm sharing? Okay, good. Please, can anyone tell me what you see? What do you see this law student doing? Can anyone just very briefly, what you see them doing? Just very briefly, do you have anyone? We can also type in the chat box. You can also type it in the chat box.
Hands up. I mean, there are some people. You can just request them to open their mic and speak, no?
Okay.
There is
I think because I'm sharing, I cannot see anything.
Yeah,
I think because I'm sharing, I cannot see anything. Okay. Yes, I see someone says awareness raising community dialogue. Reg, do you want to say something?
I was just requesting everybody whose hands is up to just type it in the chat.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any other response or responses? Street lawyering. I see Adesoji Mustafa says street lawyering. Yes. So this again is from that same law clinic, Absol Law Clinic. You have the students, like I said, teaching the community members on their rights, how they can use the act as a tool to make government accountable, to make the process of governance, the spending of budgets, how they can make it transparent. This is one of the many benefits of justice education. And this project, let me quickly chip in, this project recorded a great success. I'm going to, before the end of the session, I'm going to put in the link of the project report with what happened with the project, the impact the project made. The link is on Nulai's website. I'll post it so everyone can go there and see the impact of this project. I know a similar clinic that University of Abuja also had this project. And in a local community here in Abuja, I think they asked the local government, one of the local government chairmen in Abuja to account for his budget. And what he did instead was to quickly package what's it called now, transformer for the community. The community they have been in darkness for years. And when that report came, the clinic actually wrote a report, filed a letter, sent a letter to the council on behalf of that community for accountability of the money, the budget that was assigned to his office. And instead of response to that letter from the clinic, he immediately packaged transformer, and gave the community members electricity. And then after that, the community members were happy. They did not want to continue with pursuing the result. They did not want to continue pursuing the council responding to their letter. That would be a topic for another conversation. That is another topic that shows how we can self-sabotage the process. But that would be a conversation for another time. So I'm going to very quickly share the last picture. I'm trying to stick to time here. Okay. So now this is a career impact of justice education. Why the justice education in the career aspect? So here is a law clinician trajectory. A student that started as this is someone that started as a law student, started as a project leader in the law clinic. That was from 2013 to 2014. After being the project leader, then she progressed. If you look at it, let's start from the bottom. Don't start from the top, from the bottom. Then from that, she moved on to become a project officer with Nile, again, a network of university legal institutions. She did that for 1 year, basically 1 year actually, and then moved on after that to work in Nile University, where she was the founding law clinic coordinator, did that for 2 years and some months, and of course is lecturing there and is now a clinic supervisor in the law clinic of Nile University of Nigeria. This shows you the impacts of justice education in the career aspect. In case we have anyone that is interested, to continue to toe the line that we all are toeing, we all in the academics, particularly regarding clinical legal education. In case you're interested, to join us in academics and you're thinking, what can I do in this regard? Is it for me, or will it be something beneficial to me? Will it put food on my table? And well, I can assure you to put food on your table. I don't know about it buying you a big house, about it helping you to go for vacations in Hawaii or wherever, but I can assure you, you're going to be able to feed your family, to put food on your table, definitely. So yeah, this so far, I would say, is one of the benefits of why we should have justice education, and not just have it, not just have different institutions operating it haphazardly, operating it as they want to operate it, but to have it well regulated, to have a law stating how it should be operated. Thank you very much. So do we get to go to where we have questions or comments? This is the part where we're supposed to come back from the breakout sessions and have participants give us their key takeaways. So maybe we'll just go into the key takeaways. I don't know. What do you think, Reg?
I have a comment. I really like that you showed how legal clinic education shows in your resume or your CV or your, I don't know how it's called in other countries, because we have the experience that our alumni build careers dedicated to human rights. Similar to what you said to Rashidat, we have that kind of experiences in our clinic. One of our students, well, now a lawyer, is working in the legal clinic of another university and took this banner of human rights there. And the way that we work, she's working in there. And And also this kind of project-based working has different skills developed in our students that the common legal cases, isolated tools that litigation is more adequate to deal with. But this project-based working constructs a different set of skills in those lawyers, and they're starting to make an impact in the entities and their workplaces they finally get to work with as a lawyers. So it's really nice that seeing that people that it's something valuable in your career is history to have this different approach to law.
Thank you. Do you have any other responses? Any other responses? Of key takeaways from the presentations from all the speakers so far? Responses of, key takeaways, if any. I'm sure there are takeaways.
Well, what I thought was powerful were, of course, the individual comments, but the diversity and different dimensions of the way these programs actually serve the communities that they represent and that they interact with. So there are wide varieties of things, but they do have in their heart and their core the idea of justice, that something's going on to make things fundamentally good.
I think my key takeaway is also same, like, though we are from different jurisdictions, we all seem to be in our own way grappling with the same larger questions and same larger challenges. So it's really humbling to know that all of us, the task that we have ahead of us and the kind of steps that we are taking. I think it's really encouraging. I think there's somebody who's asking a question.
Yes, Professor Edilmoko, can you go ahead? Can you unmute? Or do I have to do we need to unmute her? Richard, do we need to unmute her?
Yeah, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Oh, great. Good afternoon, Prof.
Sorry?
I was only responding to your greetings. Good afternoon, Prof.
Okay. Yes, good afternoon. I just wanted to say that clinical legal education and your street law is very important, especially for students. And it gives them an avenue to experience parts of practice even before they get called to the bar. And it makes sure that people have like a compassionate side, one. Two, especially in Nigeria where we don't have a lot of pro bono, a lot of lawyers providing pro bono services. Everybody seems to be targeting their daily bread, as you said, putting food on their table. But we also have a largely indigent population in the country. So exposing students to the altruistic part of legal practice is very important. And so the clinical legal education and seminars and workshops such as these are very important. Bringing enlightenment to people, making them ensure that humanity is not forgotten and that there are people who would need and greatly benefit from their services. It's very important to let everybody know that it's not just all about how much can you make, but also what good can you do in the world. How can you provide for humanity? How can you improve your legacy? Whose lives can you really touch? Because there are many people, of course, in prison who have no business being there, and they are just there because they don't have any legal representation. They don't have anybody to advise them that these are their rights and these are the actions that they can take. I still just early this morning, maybe about 2, 3 a.m., about 12 hours ago, I read a story about somebody who went into prison at about, is it 14 or 13, and was just released at 60, just because he scratched somebody's car. Can you imagine that? There was another person that was in, I think, Port Harcourt too, that had gotten missing. The family thought he was dead, and he was just released a few weeks or months ago at the age of 40-something with mental health issues. These are all things that would not have happened if we have a large, strong pro bono community that provides legal services. And so this clinical legal education, working through the universities where we have thousands of students and potential future legal practitioners, are very important. So I would like to say kudos to you all. Well done, and please continue to be passionate and spreading awareness. And to students who are here looking to be called to bar, please remember humanity, and remember it's not all about the money. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good evening.
Yes, please go ahead. Yes, please go ahead.
Thank you so much for everything, for all the exposition. Borrowing a leaf from the one of the speakers that is talking about engaging the community and establishing legal communities, and also my sister from Ekiti State that talked about awareness raising and all of that. My key takeaway is that beyond the student, especially those that might have missed the opportunity of understanding and appreciating legal education from the angle of the legal clinic, as also giving back to the society, just like Prof has just said. It's for us to go catch the young lawyers, because legal education, just like you, Dr. Ngozi, have said, NULI started in 5 faculties. So there are several faculties that are yet to catch up, and they are churning out law graduates. So for us not to miss out completely on them, I think it would be good to also borrow a leaf from what is happening in India to begin to look at establishing law clinics in communities, like the NGO component, as Ekiti State has said, so that the young lawyers coming out of law school that didn't have opportunity of engaging actively like this should be able to begin to think of giving back to the society by being engaged again during that. Also, we should think of how do we bring in that if we can get them immediately after law school, can we go through NYSC to see how we can begin to talk about legal education? The truth is, as you create value, money would definitely locate you. So if they can give back to the community and build capacities in the community, like you build the capacity of that community in Gwagwalada to be able to advocate, and within a twinkle of an eye, a transformer was placed in that community. Even if they didn't continue, at least there was an impact. But I know that there'll be another meeting for us to discuss sustainability of legal education. I think for me, we should look beyond just the classroom of the schools that are already doing legal clinics and see how do we borrow a leaf to establish them in the community. Is an angle that NULI should look into. Like in the conference we attended in Edinburgh, I saw that there are some law clinicians that are not even in the universities, but they're in their communities doing very greatly. How do we replicate that? Especially that it's not all universities that have functional law clinics, and how can we bring justice to the indigent population? Just like Prof rightly pointed out, we have a lot of indigent communities and indigent populations. So for me, my key take home is that we can replicate this in the community, targeting law graduates from the law school, and also using the NYSC scheme as we have it in Nigeria. Thank you. I'm Dr. Grace Dafiel.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much, Doctor. By the way, Dr. Grace is with, Grace, please, can you remind me the name of your institution in Kwara State? I'm sorry, I think it's Thomas, yes, Thomas, is it Thomas Adeleke?
Thomas Adewumi University, Kwara State.
Yes. She's the clinic coordinator of Thomas Adewumi, yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Grace. Do we have any other response before we close the session? Any other response? Okay, so for me, of course, I have so many key takeaways, but one of them is the fact that the students, after being exposed to these activities, can and have been psychologically, impacted, not so positively, but you can get some positive aspects of that psychological, impact anyways. But from Reg talking about as students, I've also had those experiences with my students, coming back and saying, oh God, I'm so traumatized. I was also traumatized when I was in Ondo State University. I had that experience firsthand. I got into a local trap prison and I came out traumatized. I couldn't get it out of my head for months. Well, I'm better now, but then if I think about it, wherever I was then, I'm like, so I always have the shivers every time as and then if I think about it. So I also had the psychological impact of being traumatized. And I think we need to explore that conversation, what we should do in that regard. How do we cope with students coming out of these activities, and being psychologically impacted? I think it's an area we should discuss and find a solution to, so that we can best prepare them before exposing them to the field. Get them well prepared. And even after they have gone to the field and they are back, we can still build up on that, to help them, to assist them in handling the psychological aspects of the activities. So thank you very much. I don't know if any of the speakers have any last closing remarks so that we can close and not keep our people waiting for so long. Any other remarks, Richard?
Yes, I just quickly, I just want to say something
Yes,
in addition
please.
to what,
Of course.
Dr. Ngozi had said. Am I correct? I mean, the previous speaker
Yes,
from
please.
Thomas Adewumi.
Oh, Dr. Grace.
Dr. Grace, sorry. So I would say that she suggested that we should take clinical legal education beyond the walls of the university and take it out there to the community. And I would just quickly chip in that over the years, I've also realized that there are some clinical legal education, the one we do within the walls of the institution, leaves a kind of indelible mark on some of our students. And I would say that I have some of my mates, I don't know, Toby, she immediately, because of that experience, the moment
Yes.
we left school, she set up an NGO which is very active, very active. So what one sort of replicates some of the things that we do on social justice, access to justice, and everything. And I think particularly they were even more concerned. I'm a member of that NGO anyway, and they are more concerned with getting access to justice, especially for children, for juveniles at correctional centers. And they didn't just it did not just stop with going to visit them at those correctional centers, but also monitoring their aftercare for those that are being released, and then to ensuring that those who don't have access to justice within the walls also get them. So I think it's something that so what I try to do at my own level here is I try to see how the law clinics can also partner with these institutions. They are products of law clinic. They are doing well. There are I know a lot of clinicians in that organization doing the work. And so I think I would also encourage that law clinics can as well partner with NGOs like that are within the community to increase the awareness on justice education. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Paola.
I also want to address Grace's intervention, Dr. Grace's intervention on sustainability of legal clinics. We have legal aid clinics in 1970s, but the legal clinic focused on human rights doesn't have a budget on their own. We really work with what we can get to go out to the communities. And we have faced the criticism of the more traditional professors of our law school about not being teaching law because it's social work. So I think these are things that need to be discussed because we really need resources to work with people. We use our creativity to do most of our job, but it's true, our country also has lots of needs in access to justice. And we have public entities that do some of the work. We have universities, not as much as India, that are obligated to have legal aid clinics, but still there's a need of literacy on law to allow people really to access to justice. And also, I want to address that Dr. Ngozi comment about psychological impact on students. We had to open, I think 4 to 5 years from now, psychological aid for students to deal with the frustration of the cases they deal with. And also, we team up with the psychology program and have a psychology student practitioner. He goes with us to our activities because also people with vulnerabilities have this baggage, that this I don't know how to say this weight on their shoulders, and when we are talking about human rights, this scar is reopened or exposed again. So the psychological aspect of the human rights work is also something that needs to be enforced, maybe. And that's what I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Ngozi, I just want to just very quickly make a point that, some the things that have come up is, I think one thing that very strongly has come up is how do you have clinics in the community? And the other thing is, how do you deal with the psychological aspect of human rights work? I think we should do, going forward, something very focused discussion on this, because working with a clinic in the community, trust building, like how do you build trust of the community? You cannot just go into community and start working with them. They're not going to trust you from day one. NGOs are a good interlocutor. I'm sure many law schools might have tried one or the other ways in which that clinic has built trust with the community. So it would be very nice to have maybe going forward a discussion on specifically focused on this, or specifically focused on how institutions or legal aid clinics have looked at the psychological impact and how have they dealt with it. Maybe these two we can take forward in coming panels in this. I think it will be really helpful.
Awesome. Yes, thank you very much. Awesome. Thank you. Stephanie Obioha, your hand is up. Please unmute yourself and go ahead.
Hello, good day, everyone. My name is Stephanie Obioha, and my key takeaway is that we need more knowledge on justice of education, because the community in general doesn't really have the knowledge to exercise the education for legal help. So my take is that we provide more law clinics, even outside of law school or the universities which offer. We can make it to the public to help in the education. Oh.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Thank you so much. Okay, I think we've come to the end of the session. Professor Richard, I see in the chat box you said something. Let me see. Okay, justice education is far more than what some of the faculty call social work. As many people said today, it's about access to justice, from Professor Richard. Yes, I agree. Thank you very much, Prof. Thank you to everyone for joining this session. We're supposed to have another session next month, which is August, but we're going to give it a break and then have the next session in September. hopefully we can, build on what Reg said about building trust, and also discussing the psychological impacts of these activities on the students. Hopefully we can have that in the next session, which will be in September. Thank you all for being part of this session. We are most grateful. And to our wonderful, fantastic speakers. It was such a short notice, and you all were present. Thank you. Again, sorry about Professor Maria. She's sick and she sent regrets, and she also sent her greetings. Thank you all for this wonderful session. Thank you, Professor Moko. Wonderful having you around. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Reg, don't go. Stay
Thank
back.
you. Bye.
Thank
Asha.
you.
Reg, stay
Bye.
back. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Bye, everyone. Mr. Mahmoud, are you still with us? Mr. Mahmoud. Ibrahim, hello. Didn't hear your voice at all during the session. Are you with us? Are you with us, Ibrahim?
I will end the session and say goodbye to you. Thank you so much, Ngozi, for organizing.
Yeah.
And Rejitha, thank you
Thank you.
for your
Reg,
participation.
we'll talk on WhatsApp
Professor.
then.
It was amazing. Thank you so much. And,
Thank you, Prof. Thank
and
you,
I'll be
Reg.
talking to you soon, Rick.
Talk
I
on
need a
WhatsApp.
lot of advice.
Yes, we'll talk on WhatsApp.
Yeah,
Yes.
just be in touch. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Yes. Bye. Cheers, everyone. Bye.